Okay, I'll get started now. It's the most exciting time of the year. It's not Christmas. It's accountability reports. I know we're all looking forward to this. So let's begin. I hope some people turn up that aren't already on EC or DAC. Some people have signed up, but we'll see. Um, yes. Um, is there anything? There's nothing to promote. Scratch that. And the first person to start is Luan. Before I start though, I'll say the auditor reports are going to be as listed. Some people might not be here. If they're not, and they've asked to sort of they've said that they might be here. I'll just move them down and we'll come back to it. If they're still not here, we'll just read the report out. For anyone who isn't here as well, their report will just get read out for 2 minutes if they've submitted it yet. And then questions, we're going to do Luan, Jane, and Olivia, a set of questions there. So you can ask a question to anyone really of those three, either direct or like just general for anyone to answer as well. And the next block will be the rest of EC other than the Green Students Committee co-conveners. That'll be another block of questions. Then it'll be Callum and Amelia's reports and then questions to them, then DAC and questions to them, if that's clear. And I'll let Luan start. You have 2 minutes.
Perfect, thank you. I am just going to read it out. I know that's boring, but it's what it is. So I am thankful and proud to have been elected as your co-chair. I haven't been as active as I would have liked to be in the first few months because of jaw surgery, but I've outlined below what I've done alongside Jane. Feel free to pose any questions regarding the contents or omissions in this report. So I supported the induction programme for the new exec committee, collaborating with Kelsey and Jane to ensure a seamless handover. Despite some delays due to my jaw surgery, we provided induction sessions covering the core functions of the Young Greens, our operational procedures, how our groups function. Additionally, we relied on DAC for an induction on accountability with key points shared during exec. I've managed to chair and set agendas for the exec committee meetings, occasionally taking minutes when our staff member is unavailable. All executive committee meeting dates are listed on green spaces. I've helped collaborate with our political education officer, Phil, in terms of 30 under 30. This year we've received 150 applications and produced promotional videos. I've also helped with the freshers packs in Bristol, helping to pack them and ferry them to the post office. I wrote the press piece in terms of student housing, collaborating with the exec and Carla Denya. And then general administration, continued support for our admin staff. Member has been a priority. Jen and I have met with the membership manager to implement changes in supporting our staff member, introducing weekly check-ins and regular updates at exec meetings, and then attendance at GPEX and Polcom. Discussions on the Young Greens budget during recent GPEX
2 minutes.
have been challenging. And while advocating for retention of the Young Greens budget in full, we anticipate significant changes for 2024. I think that's everything.
Thanks, Luan. I'll move on to Jane.
Cool. Thanks, George. Yeah, I'm going to try and not repeat too much of what Lou said. But yeah, as always, supporting our fantastic new exec with their handover and our outgoing exec as well has been really exciting. I've been working with various different people on different things. So we have a great group of us between me, our two Green Students co-conveners, our membership and inclusion officer and our staff member who have been doing some really great work on supporting our groups. And we've really been progressing that, which is really nice to have a group of us kind of doing that work. I've also been working with our co-conveners on building group power sessions, which have just come back, which is really exciting. Callum and Amelia have very much led the way on that, and I've just been kind of cheering them on and writing some tweets for them. So they've done a really good piece of work with that, and I'm really proud to support it. As Lou's talked about, I've also been kind of chairing and setting agendas for meetings, in addition to also kind of doing regular kind of one-to-one support with exec members as well. We had a number of empty roles on our exec, so we've co-opted Moore, who is not here yet, as our LGBTQ IQA, I always get it the wrong way round, officer, and Ellie, who is here as our Trans Young Greens officer, and hopefully going out to co-opt for our other 2 empty roles. As I don't know what else I'm going to say. We also looked at Action Network and our fields. Yay, we have so many fields that our fantastic staff member has cleared out. And as Lou talked about, we've also been doing some work around the Young Greens budget and kind of budget meetings for the National Party as well. And I think that's about my 2 minutes. So I'm going to stop there.
Thanks, Jane. I'll move on to Olivia. Is Olivia here? Olivia is here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just going to read out what I've got. I say it's boring, but at least it's prepared. The following report is intended to provide... Oh, I don't need to tell that. I would like to begin by saying a massive thank you to everyone who voted for me to be elected treasurer, equally everyone who campaigned for positions to ensure a competitive election. I really enjoyed meeting the person I ran against. I was a big fan, almost got my vote. I would also like to thank the wider executive committee and our staff member for their continued support and hard work. And lastly, to the Green Party of England and Wales finance team for their advice and guidance in the position. The first month following being elected involved arranging a handover and ascertaining the current financial position, as well as attending training sessions and meetings. Once trained, the first of my roles was to organise the payment of summer expenses for summer convention. We ended up needing to allocate a further £1,113 to the fund, but due to access being a core concern for us, we agreed to that as an exec. I'm very happy with that decision, though I did note that this was an area for improvement moving forward, especially around a more robust claims procedure, which leads me on to the with or without EU summer camp claims. And with the help of our staff member, we were able to create a much more robust claim, which meant a much more successful access fund where everyone got the money that they needed, and it was all done in a timely manner. I think is really the important thing there. This success would not have been possible without our staff members' tireless work on both fundraising and organising. And then I have most recently spent my time formulating a recommendation.
2 minutes.
Okay, sorry, for EDAM, for Winter General Meeting to be online, which we have all agreed on as an exec. That's everything, I think.
Great, thank you. If there's any questions, now's the time to ask. There are no pre-submitted questions, so unless anybody has something, we're probably going to move on. For the sake of the recording, if you want to ask a question another time, you can email members as well. Benjamin, you have a question?
Hello. Yes, I have a question for, well, I guess both co-chairs, but it was Luan who brought it up. You said that you were negotiating with about the budget for next year, and is that something that you can expand a bit upon?
Not as of right now, because there's been obviously no solid decisions. It will be something that we are bringing to the next executive meeting, because obviously as co-chairs, we're only representative of your voice, and we'll discuss it as a big group and come to a decision from there. We're just putting it together, and we'll put them papers on Slack for you to look at as an exec as well. Jane, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah. So just for kind of context, so at this time of the year, GPEX essentially goes through like budgeting. So we have various different meetings of the executive where we look at various different kind of finance papers. All of those discussions are confidential, so we can't really share them in a space like this. We have had a discussion with the executive committee in confidential session about the Young Greens budget and where potential changes to that may fall as a result of financial difficulties that the Central Party is having, and how that may impact the Young Greens budget in particular. Lou and I do now have an update on that, which we're hoping to be able to share with exec members kind of as soon as we've actually like been able to like write something on it. So yeah, unfortunately we can't share a huge amount about it because it is confidential to GPEX. And therefore when we share what we're able to with exec members, that is also confidential as well. So yeah, sorry, it's a little bit vague and potentially therefore not an answer for you or from Miranda, but that's kind of about as much as we can say. What I can say is that one of the things that is always kind of forefront on my mind, and Lou, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm hoping it's the same, is kind of retaining the Young Greens budget so we can continue to do what we do, particularly our staff member, but also when looking at kind of the wider party budget, particularly looking at kind of staff in particular, because we view that as kind of a really important thing for the party to retain in order to be able to kind of keep doing what it's doing, especially as we're going into general election year, and being able to make sure that the party is on kind of good footing for that. So that's kind of the way that we sort of like approached it, I guess. There are lots of discussions that happen and lots of like numbers that are discussed, but we can't share most of them because they are confidential to GPEX, I'm afraid.
And if there's no more questions, I will move on. Also, if you do have a question, you can also just message me in chat if you really want. Okay, next would be Connor, but Connor, I don't believe is here, and there is currently no report, so I can't read that out. So I'll move on to Finn, if that's okay. You have 2 minutes. Just let me know when you want to start.
Hi, can I just check that you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So first I'd like to start by thanking the other members of the exec and members of DAC and our Young Greens staff member. It's a pleasure to be part of such a great team. Since being elected as Digital Comms Officer in July, it's been admittedly slow start due to the role being previously vacant and handover taking quite a while, which is perfectly understandable. I'd like to thank our co-chairs, Jane and Lou, for the work they did making sure there was a handover for this role. The first Digital Comms specific project I was involved with was creating video for our TikTok and Instagram accounts to introduce our new executive, with each of them recording a video saying what their favourite Green Party policy is. I was very happy with the response that this video received, with it getting a large social media reach compared to some of our other videos previously. I've also been involved with coordinating our comms for events such as Disability History Month, Trans Day of Remembrance, World AIDS Day, and others, which is involved working with relevant liberation officers on the EC and asking them what they think the Young Greens should be saying for these days. I also do a lot of the day-to-day managing of the Instagram and Twitter accounts, sharing things from a local group, Young Green councillors and Green Party spokespeople, work I do alongside our co-chair Jane, who has been great at showing me how the Young Greens operate our social media accounts. I've also done general EC work, which has been attending meetings, contributing ideas, and I've recently been helping with the process of marking applications for our brilliant 30 under 30 programme. At the start of the EC term, I also went through a handover with the Young Greens under 18s officer. the new one, giving her the information I thought would be useful after doing that role last year. I would like to address some of the concerns that were raised about me becoming digital comms officer at the hustings in the election. These were mainly about my personal conduct on social media and about maintaining professionalism. Whilst I appreciate these concerns, and I feel like I must use this opportunity to respond to them. In terms of conduct on social media, I recognise this hasn't always been the best, but I believe that during the Young Greens internal election, since taking on
2 minutes, by the way, Finn.
Okay.
If you do want to finish right off and be quick, you
I'll
can.
finish that sentence. I believe during the Young Greens internal elections, since taking on this role, my conduct has been without concern. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Thanks, Finn. So next would be Eleanor. I don't think she's here though, and I do not have a report to read out, so I can't currently do that. Kiara would also be after that, and I don't think Kiara's here. I also don't have a report for Kiara, so I'll move on to Maria, if that's okay. Just let me know when you want to start, and you have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who trusted me to be the events officer by voting. That was amazing. Thank you all so much. It's been an honor. And also like to thank all of the Young Greens for being so helpful in like helping me navigate this role, as it is my first time ever doing anything like this. So cheers guys, you've been amazing. So my first thing that I had to kind of organise was a nice little social for Young Greens before the national conference that took place in October. I was given a bit of help by a member of one of the Brighton Young Greens who was amazing in helping me like find restaurants, as I'm not from Brighton. It was really helpful. I was not able to attend conference, so I wasn't able to advertise it as much as I would have liked to. In the end though, got a table booked, all went well. I've also been doing work with 30 Under 30 and helping kind of organise that. That's all gone amazingly. Thanks to Georgia for tackling a lot of that. She's been incredible. And applications are all done. Interviews are beginning, I believe, today, so that's great. I've also been looking into venues for our summer convention, mainly up north, as one of my like big goals getting into this role was to have like Young Greens events happen all over the country, as I feel like there's not often a lot of things happening up north, and it would be great to see a lot more things happen up here. And so I've been looking into venues mainly in the northeast, and I've got a shortlist compiled at the minute. I will be adding to it as I go, but yeah. I've also been doing a lot of work with my local party, mainly with the Lancaster Uni Young Greens, who have been amazing. We've done a lot of really successful events lately, have managed to increase our members since we got onto the exec in May. And
That's 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Next is Benjamin. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yes, hello everyone. I'll try to be brief while I have to. First I'd like to thank everyone who voted to re-elect me for my second term, and yeah, big up you guys. And I would like to thank the exec and our wonderful staff member Georgia for doing a great job. Yeah, so I'll just try to rattle through things. So first of all, we had our international summer camp. I almost forgot this because like this was so much like last term, but it actually transpired this autumn. So yeah, great success. Had loads of participants be there. It was about something really important, the Good Friday Agreement, which celebrated its 25-year anniversary today, this year, and yeah, it was really good, and it was cool that we managed to get something new up and running. I have had preliminary talks about a possible location for so the pressure is now on for us to have hosted next year, and I've had some and like I've started very, very like early drawing up some plans for that. That obviously needs to be brought to the exec once they are more fleshed out. I have also initiated, well, almost completed setting up an international committee because we had 20 applicants, which I think is really good. And I would like to thank everyone who applied. I think it's really nice that international work is so popular. I would I would rather get back to the process once it is completed at the next report stage, because I don't want to, because it would be unfair to people who have applied for me to discuss it whilst the process is ongoing. Is that 2 minutes already?
2 minutes, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, and also loads of stuff with FIEG. I've done, like, just read the report. It's all quite complicated. And it's been quite a lot of work and quite draining at times. So yeah, that's fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Benjamin. Next would be Ollie, but they're not available this evening. So I'll read out the report for 2 minutes. I would like to start my report by firstly thanking the members who voted for me as the Membership and Inclusion Officer this year. It's a great privilege to be able to contribute to the Young Greens in this role. I'd also like to extend thanks to Jane, Lou, and Georgia for running a great induction process, my successor Dylan Lewis Cresser for their handover, and my fellow members of the exec for being wonderful to work alongside. Since convention, I've been attending regular EC meetings and actively contributing to discussions on agenda items. One of the first things I did was work alongside Georgia to organise the Safeguarding a GDPR training for our local and university group committee members. This was fairly successful, and it was great to be able to meet some of our group organisers. Along with Jane, Amelia, Callum, and Georgia, I have been involved in working on dealing with the backlog we have of supporting new and existing local and university groups. I have attended a couple of meetings alongside Jane and with members who are setting up new groups, and will be conducting some of these meetings independently shortly. We've also worked as a group to set up the Young Greens Slack network, which is really exciting. I hope will continue to grow and be a really positive channel for activity and organising. I also contribute to discussion within this group surrounding freshers, though I took a backseat on this as it's not necessarily directly related to my portfolio. With Phil and Connor, I have also been helping to organise a panel event that will encourage Young Greens to put them forward for selection to be a prospective parliamentary candidate. Unfortunately, due to the lack of panellists, we were unable to organise this in the timescale we had originally planned, but we are working on getting this event organised as soon as possible. I also put myself forward to be a safeguarding officer for the Young Greens this year, and I'm delighted to have been elected alongside Elliot by our fellow executive members. I look forward to getting involved in this role also. The Executive Committee agreed for me to fill the observer seat that the Young Greens have on the GPU Equality and Diversity Committee. Now that this committee is up and running, I'll be attending the first meeting on 27th of October and will feed back to Executive any relevant information. That's 2 minutes, but there's only one paragraph after that, so success. Next would be Phil. 2 minutes when you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. First, I'd just like to thank the rest of the exec, DAC, and our staff member for all their work this term. The majority of my work has been focused on 30 under 30. I've been working mostly alongside Jane, Luann, Maria, and Georgia on this. So I created the new application form, got the timetable 30 and 30 approved by the executive committee. I also worked with Georgia and Maria on finding and deciding on a suitable location to host it next year, with Manchester being chosen. Since then, we've worked hard on promoting it via various avenues. This has proved very successful, with 161 people applying, which is up from 86 last year. It was also good to see increased numbers of people from underrepresented groups apply for it this year, and I really think that shows the good work the exec has put into ensuring that was the case. More recently, along with the rest of the exec, I was involved in the marking of the applications, from which we've decided who was progressed to the interview stage, which, as you heard earlier, starts today. I've also worked on creating the calendar plan and the schedule for the program itself, and who we should be inviting as guests to speak at the program. This is an ongoing process. So we have another meeting on it next week for us organising it. Aside from 30 under 30 activities this term, I have done include the following. So I worked with Ollie and Connor on planning a future online political education event featuring prospective parliamentary candidates and young Greens who previously stood at general elections. So we'll probably be doing that at winter general meeting now. I also gave some initial advice to Amelia and Callum on the series of online training events they have planned. The first took place in November, which is very good, and there's more planned for the rest of the year. I was also part of the GPEW prep team, along with Georgia and Benjamin, who delivered the With or Without EU summer camp, which was really successful. I attended conference in Brighton, helping at the Young Green stand. I also attended Wales conference in Cardiff and gave a closing speech, which was focused on the problems young people are facing.
2 minutes.
Yeah, that's basically it anyway. You can read the rest of the report if you want to, and I'm happy to have any emails in the future. Cheers.
Thanks, Phil. Next is Elliot. Just 2 minutes when you're ready.
Hi everyone, I'm going to try and summarize my statement as best as I can. So first, thank you to my fellow exec members, co-chairs and our staff members. Everyone is so hardworking and dedicated to the role. It's been wonderful coming into this role and to work with them. A special thanks to those who elected me to this position. It's a pleasure to be in this role and I hope to make the most out of it. First order of business was to receive a handover. There was no ongoing projects related to my role. I was glad to take on this position with a clean slate, allowing me to be creative with what I got up to. The first objective I gave myself was to revive the Young Green Disability Group Committee. Initially, this was a struggle due to some confusion in the constitution. However, I've worked around this now and we have a fully running committee, including co-chairs. It was important for me to set this up so to ensure I was best representing the disabled community in my role, but also to hold me accountable. In the running of the group, there's been some concerns about how we can access our disabled members, Young Green disabled members, but thankfully having raised this with Georgia, our staff member, this is now being addressed, and so hopefully we should each have each Liberation Office should soon have a mailing list. Now within my role, I have spent some time networking with party members, particularly building connections in the spirit of enhancing disabled liberation for young people. Of particular benefit here is my membership of the Disability Committee and of the Disability Policy Working Group. One useful connection I've also made is with Hamza Egal, the Equity, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Manager for the party. He is interested.
2 minutes.
Yep. He's interested in working in improving the data in the party, so I'm supporting him in that role.
Thanks, Elliot. Next is would be more, but they are not here. And I do not have a report to read out. The next person would be the People of Colour officer, but we do not have one. So we will be skipping over that. And so next would be Ellie Gooch.
Hi there. I'm the Trans Liberation Officer. I should first, if I have time, like to echo everybody else by thanking all the exec members who give me such a warm welcome. The exec and helped me out since September, as well as Georgia. There is no current trans liberation group in the Young Greens, and I did consider co-opting one, but I realized that our work would be quite similar to the existing work of the LGBTQIA+ liberation group, and so I'm now working as an extra member of their group instead. Along with them, I helped Moors contact their members. I helped set up and run the socials by creating comms for important LGBT celebration days. We're also hoping to organise a panel event on intersex rights in the party, which should be out soon. But just because we aren't a separate group doesn't mean the Trans Young Greens don't have a voice. This autumn, I've set up a Trans Young Greens Instagram and Twitter, which I've been running on, posting on since. this can be used to represent trans voice on issues like conversion therapy, as well as talk about exclusively trans issues, which don't necessarily get as much space on wider LGBT spaces. Alongside this, I've been attending to contributing to regular meetings and also have helped mark 30 under 30 applications. And we'll be helping out with interviews soon. In the next term, we look forward to contacting our membership more. We think there's quite a lot of you. And as Elliot said, we'll have the mailing list. So we'll also get an event out. And that's pretty much it. Thanks.
Perfect. 20 seconds left. Next would be Izzy Metcalf, Raina, and Hildy Wild. I do not believe any of them are here, and I don't have a report to read out. Next will be Women of Colour Officer, but we do not have one of them at the moment as well. Next would be Under 18s Officer Esther Hobbs. I think Esther is unavailable. I think she's doing 30 other interviews. So I will read out the report. If someone does want to correct me, though, then jump in. First, I'd like to thank everyone on the exec and DAC committees, as well as Georgia, for their amazing work over the past few months. It has been a privilege to work as part of such a great team and be able to contribute to Young Greens in my roles as Under 18s officer. I'd also like to thank the previous Under 18s officer, Finn, for his support in the handover period. Since being elected in July, the majority of my time has been taken up with the co-option of an Under 18s committee, including writing and organising applications for including writing and organising applications and conducting interviews. I'd especially like to thank Jane, Finn, and Georgia for their help with this. We received an amazing amount of applications and now have the first full committee in several years. We are planning to get a meeting soon, and I can't wait to work with the amazing new officers on the committee. In addition to this, I have recorded a GCSE results day video, which we shared across the social media accounts and had a very positive reception. Written a press release regarding the RAC crisis in schools. Ran, monitored, and updated the Under 18s X/Twitter and Instagram accounts. I've also been contributing to general EC work, including regularly attending meetings, regularly attending and contributing to EC meetings, and more recently marking applications for the brilliant 30 under 30 program. In the coming months, I plan on working with the Under 18s committee as well as the wider Finn. As well as the wider EC to continue giving Under 18s the voice they deserve in politics. Yeah. Next, I will move on to sorry, one sec. I think it's Callum first.
Cool. I will try and give a quick summary of everything we've been doing. I'm happy to say it's been a very busy couple of months on Green Students Committee. We started out by co-opting our committee. We've launched key initiatives and we've helped carry out freshers plans and supported other exec functions, especially on our groups process, which has already been mentioned by other exec members. For freshers, I helped give feedback on the proposal and joined Jane and Lou in Bristol to help pack them up and send them across the country. It was wonderful to see all of the Instagram posts of everyone sharing their freshers stalls. And working with Amelia, we have launched Building Group Power, a series of training to ensure our activists have the tools necessary for action on a local and university level. Our first event on setting up groups went smoothly, and I look forward to the next event on campaigns, which is coming soon. So keep your eyes peeled and check your inboxes. And along with the committee, I launched Society of the Month on our Instagram at GPW Students to encourage more idea sharing and friendly competition between our societies throughout the year. It is now in its second round of nominations, and the next winner will be announced on the 1st of December. It has, however, been challenging at times to manage workloads with university deadlines. This is something I will communicate on in future to ensure I'm sharing workloads when I need to and to prioritise my final year studies. And there's still plenty more to get done. We will be fine-tuning our communications, setting up events to help progressives run for their SUs, and continue to ensure that students are at the heart of the Young Greens. You can read my full statement online, and I look forward to answering any questions.
I'm on mute. Perfect. Thanks, Cal. And I will move on to Amelia.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who voted for me in the elections, and thank you for the executive committee for their support. And especially, I would like to extend my gratitude to Jamie Payne, who handed over this role to me and Callum. The first few months of starting this role have been challenging but rewarding, as I've been co-chairing the Green Students Committee and starting a new job. I started my role by attending various different trainings and assisting with freshers packs before the academic year began. And Callum and I were responsible for updating freshers resources and making sure they were ready to send out to groups who requested them. I've also been responsible for helping relaunch the Slack network with Ollie, Jane, Callum, and Georgia. And I've also been part of interviewing for the executive committee. So I helped to interview for the Trans Young Green Liberation Officer, and I also was responsible for interviewing the non-portfolio officers for the Green Student Committee. After that, Callum and I were responsible for shortlisting the candidates and bringing them into the committee. And we've been working with them over the past few months to bring forward some ideas, such as bringing a Young Greens newsletter to the executive committee. Other things I've done during my role so far is filming a video about why I joined the Young Greens. I brought forward the Building Group Power series to the executive committee. We ran the first session this month, which was successful, and we have another session later in the year and a few more as the year goes on. I've also been involved in the groups organising group with Callum, Ollie, Georgia and Jane to manage contacting different groups and reduce waiting times. I've also been helping keep the Slack network active, and I've also been part of helping with the 30 under 30 process by shortlisting, helping mark applications, and I'm now soon going to interview those candidates.
That's 2 minutes. Okay, sorry. Next is me. For the committee technical report for DAC. I'll try and rattle through this. I'll try and rattle through the headlines of this basically. Start of the term, we elected me as chair of DAC and Anya as the C&D representative, which is a person who sits on the Complaints and Disputes Committee that's appointed by DAC. We updated the ruling documents to include any changes from convention. We made 3 rulings so far this term. We've sort of made other 2 as well, but the final text of them is still being drafted. We resolved a complaint which was carried over from last year. I won't get too into that. We co-opted 3 new members. We started the term with only 2 of us, and we had 3 vacant positions. They're now filled. New C&D committee formation. We ran the safeguarding officer elections that recently taken place on EC, and we recently ratified what's called EDAM, which is Exceptional Democratic and Accountability Measures, which will be putting the Windsor General Meeting online. Of the rulings, you can read them in the report. The first one is about a ruling regarding complaints and disputes confidentiality. The second there is about how we sort of change C&D members around midterm. The next one is about implications being removed from the annual ballot and if you can be co-opted or not. And then there's also a anonymized summary of the complaint that we did conclude. And that's it. But unfortunately, it is me again for my personal report. And I'm just going to read it out. It's been a pleasure to be re-elected to DAC and to take on the responsibility of chair since the annual ballot. As ever, I'd like to thank fellow members of DAC and EC for being great to work with and appreciate all the work you do. Since starting as chair, I've chaired all of DAC's meetings, which are currently taking place on a roughly monthly basis, and attended EC as much as possible. All the ruling documents should be up to date with any changes from convention, and updates to the record of structural procedures will also be available soon to reflect rulings DAC has made recently. We received a high number of applications for co-options to DAC this year after having 3 vacancies. There were also a healthy amount of interest in the Complaints and Disputes Committee. I worked with Anya to interview all the applicants to DAC and reviewed applications to C&D to form this year's committee. Pleased with how this process went after difficulties contacting members from the previous formulation of the Complaints and Disputes Committee, and the impact on the time taken to finalise a complaint. Despite best efforts to deal with the situation in a swift manner, this experience has made clear that there needs to be changes to the complaint system. DAC recently approved exceptional democratic and accountability measures for the upcoming winter general meeting, proposing to hold it online. I do believe this is in the best interest of the Young Greens. However, I am skeptical of the use of the EDAM process to achieve it and what it means for the future use of the process with a loose interpretation of exceptional measures. To avoid duplication and keep my report brief, I'd refer anyone interested in a more detailed overview to the committee technical report. And I'm done. Before I continue, though, I'm going to ask if there's any questions for any EC members, because I forgot to go over that. And also for Green Students Committee coordinators. But if not, I'll move on to the rest of the DAC reports. Okay, I will move on to Anya's report then. I was elected to the DAC at the Young Greens conference and took on the role of C&D rep. Since then, I've worked with the chair of DAC to co-opt 3 new members in order to have a full committee. We also co-opted a full complaints and disputes subcommittee with additional reserves to make sure that we can in future deal with any complaints in a timely fashion. I was active in the process of dealing with ruling requests and have spent time analysing Young Green documents so as to be able to give as much clarity as possible on issues. In the next few months, I look forward to helping facilitate the winter general meeting and supporting with proposed amendments to documents that will make our rules clearer for everyone so we can function to the best of our collective ability. Next is Eugene. You have 2 minutes when you're ready. Yeah.
Does my mic work?
Yep.
Excellent. Great. So yeah, firstly, just want to say a big thank you to George and Anya, who've been really on it in DAC so far. As for me, it's been fairly quiet. I've helped out with EDAM and WGM more broadly, but not really much more than that, so I'll keep it nice and brief for you.
Thanks, Eugene.
George, you're on mute.
Thank you. Next will be Emily Charlie, but she is not submitted a report and she's not here. Next then after that it would be Ryan Eagle, who is not available tonight but has submitted a short report. Current DAC reports for members got to recently are probably quite short because it only happened quite recently and we've only really had like 2 meetings since then. I was co-opted into the Democracy and Accountability Committee and I've attended both meetings that have taken place since. I have engaged with Rulings and organisation, both through Slack and our online meetings. It's been a pleasure to be involved so far, and I'm sure there is much more to come, particularly with the winter general meeting coming up. And that's everything. That's all the reports. If there's any questions for the AC, I'll take them now. But if not, that's it. Thanks for coming, everyone. As I said at the start, most exciting time of the year, accountability reports. Eclipse is Christmas by far. But thanks for coming. It's obviously an important part of what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.